Welcome to Mike's Moment of. This is one of those conversations where history walks into the room before the microphones even turn on. Today's episode is called An Old Friend, A New Conversation. And my guest is Totlyn Oliver, someone I've shared a stage with, worshipped alongside at the same church, and worked with in different roles at the same college. Since those early days, Totlyn has gone on to become an award-winning speaker, author, podcast host, and a trusted voice for authenticity, visibility, and courageous communication. This isn't just a catch-up, it's a pause, it's a reflection, a deeper look at who we become when life keeps asking us to speak truthfully, boldly, and with grace. Welcome, Totlyn. How you doing?
I am good. This long time, me not see you. Oh my
Hey,
God.
oh, make
From
me
the
walk
Holy
and
Hand.
talk.
Michael, how you doing today? Oh
I'm
my
good. It's
goodness.
always so good to see your face and to give you. I wish I was there to give you a hug up, like we used to do at church and at Edna.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. And then we are both in snowy climes at this time.
Yeah, oh,
Yes.
I put this up so I can show the people what is
Mhm,
happening outside my window that they cannot see. This is
mhm.
what is happening. We're in the middle of a snowstorm, and
Yes.
it is coming down nice and heavy. We're expecting about 20 inches of snow here in Massachusetts. So
Wow.
you know,
I
yes,
don't know. I
indeed.
think we got a little dusting here in North Carolina. It might very well continue for the rest of the evening,
Okay.
but that's about it. That's about it. Light dusting, but of course, folks down south don't know necessarily how to drive and navigate, live in the snow.
Yes.
So there
Yes.
are some hazards. There are some
Yeah.
hazards coming up. So I hope that all will be well. I don't have to go on the street, so I'm glad for that. So
Yeah.
that's it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, so I have memories of when I just went to Edna, coming to your office and
Mhm.
sitting down and us talking about all kinds of stuff. Do you remember all the things we used to talk about? I think we were talking about dreams and about possibilities and all kinds of different things.
Listen, every single thing, but I'm remembering even further back than that. I
Really?
remember you were away from Jamaica for a very long time and you had returned and you were like brand new like a shiny penny to theater, but with this wonderful uh bravado with the singing, and you were in a musical production. Don't remember the name of it now, but you were one of the leads in that. And I
Mm.
remember you came on my radio program in Jamaica and we were talking about that. I remember you had come from a lot of travel and living abroad for a while, working and studying abroad for a while.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't remember
Yes.
what production that was, but
It
the
was with
production we were in together. Which
Mhm.
one?
It was one with Pablo Hoylet. He was the director.
Pablo Hoylet. I
And
wonder if
you
it was with it might have been the Noel Coward play that was at Little Theatre. It could have
would
been.
be. But I
Yes.
remember you had a singing part. It was a musical. And
Yes.
it was very, very it was I like those kinds of things.
Yes. Yes. But we were in Into the Woods together. We were on
Oh,
stage
yes,
together
sir.
at the Ward Theatre. Norman Ray
Listen,
directing. Yes.
that was fun. That was absolute fun. And
That-
then because I'm not a singer like all the other singers that we had in the cast, me trying to catch those notes as the evil stepmother. Oh my
It
goodness.
worked though. It worked because you're an evil stepmother.
Listen, I tell you, and the funniest thing is that I have this huge fear, where people have fears of public speaking. I've always had these huge fears of singing. I've even cracked on stage during one of my performances in pantomime, the 1980 man
Ah.
song Pantomime. And,
Mm.
I just played it off as if it was a part of it. And the wonderful Noel Dexter
Dexter.
changed the key for me
Oh,
so that
good.
when I was playing, I was able to navigate that note. Otherwise, I couldn't sing pretty well.
Yes.
But and I kept on ending up in all of these musical singing. I tell you, well, it was so much fun. I'm so glad we did that. I went to a recent staging of it here into the
Yes.
woods, and I was busy singing out. Listen, I sang every word. Ooh, it was fun. It's
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
one of those really different kind of productions.
Absolutely. Stephen Sondheim is amazing, and that concept of bringing all those fairy tales together is just
Mhm.
a stroke of genius.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, definitely, definitely. I remember the one to catch a fish, to milk the cow, to this, to that. I don't
To
remember
go to
all
the
the
festival, yes.
words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We have staged. We have really shared the stage together. We literally are, kindred spirits when it comes on to the whole business of um the discipline of the arts,
Yes. Yeah.
because it demands such a discipline. Your whole life has to really navigate itself around times for rehearsal, showing up on time, for call times,
Hmm.
learning your lines. All you know how to learn lines, and remember how to learn lines right now, Michael.
Of course. Of course. You never forget those things. You never forget.
Good, good,
Plus,
good.
you're teaching. I'm teaching students. I'm teaching some musical theater stuff as well. So,
Mhm.
it won't leave me. It
Of
won't
course,
leave me alone.
and have nowhere to go. And
Exactly.
and I
Exactly.
love the discipline it gives us, because it allows us to do exactly this, which we're doing. We're
Hmm.
now in, and you know what too? It gives us the flexibility of switching to new when required.
Right.
That's what theater arts, musical arts allow us. It allows us the freedom to switch
Hmm.
and recreate whatever it is that we need to recreate.
Exactly. What was it?
It,
What was it? The COVID buzzword, but pivot. It allows us to pivot.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
definitely allows you to do that and to see things in a new light. Every time I know I'm trying to work out a challenge,
Hmm.
I realize just flicking the switch of creativity. What if I look at it this way?
Right.
Because when you're on stage doing theater and you have 3 months worth of performances to go through, 5 times a week, maybe sometimes 6 times a week, as an actor, you do get bored. So
Yeah.
what do? You have to find new motivations in the same
Hmm.
lines. You have to find new angles to swing in, that your other players can work alongside you and not get thrown off.
Absolutely.
You have to, you really have to get up and enjoy what you're doing. That's over and over and over again. And because you're bringing entertainment, you
Hmm.
you are working for your audience. You can't afford to slip.
Yeah. You have to
It,
reinvent in different ways, and reinvention is not failure. It's discernment. It's to know you kind of being aware of what's going on. You have to make an
yeah,
adjustment there, or make a twist there. Yeah. Absolutely.
it's very, very interesting. And when you were on my Why I Write podcast that I started back in 2021
Yeah.
myself, was it 2021? We were talking about
That's
your
right.
book, and that came from, again, our spiritual beliefs.
Hmm. Hmm.
Remember?
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the, I hate this word, overarching. It's so university, you know, or the linchpin, or
Yeah.
the undergirding factor.
That is very church undergirding.
Listen,
Yeah.
and really it provides, that's what helps creativity along,
Hmm.
because we don't believe in accepting the herd mentality that says, "Oh my goodness, the sky is falling, the sky is falling." We would rather look up and say, "No, we're actually getting closer to the sky,"
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
instead of the sky is falling. And some
Hmm.
people may think of that we are dreaming, just dreamers, and that's where it stays.
Hmm.
But the reality, that is a part of the creativity. A part of the creativity is to really continue to explore all of the downloads, all of the artistic downloads that come.
Hmm.
Because when we started to talk way back when, I'm sure neither of us, I didn't see myself, neither of us thought of ourselves as authors, published authors to be,
Not at all. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and being on stage for you, you're a multidisciplined musical maestro, where you learn how to fuse different forms of music,
Mm-hmm.
produce new music,
Yeah.
and you have to be literally fearless about it. As a matter of fact, the word fear doesn't even enter into the picture.
True. True.
It's just a curiosity, I believe. What if
Mm-hmm.
when I
Like,
first wrote when I first wrote my book in 2012, Jamaica 101, it was on the occasion of Jamaica's 50th anniversary of
right.
independence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just did it in a different style. It came to me and I'm like, oh my goodness. And this is why I started my Why I Write podcast. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my goodness, me write a book. How can I write a book? I can't write and publish a book. Me who has already academically published
Right.
in a journal in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Me who wrote speeches for presidents of universities
Yeah.
and corporate people. Me who write hundreds and hundreds of promos for my radio programs. Me
Yeah.
who, yes, you complete your degree, your advanced degree in education, and I actually doubted that I could write a book.
As we
What?
do. Well, I don't know why we have to know, even though we're doing it, even though
You know?
we're already doing it. Yeah.
So what did I do? I just used the skills I already have. Started to do
Mm-hmm.
my research, and when I did my research, I discovered that there was, even though you have the tourist board website, there was not one place you could actually go and get a lot of information in bite-sized pieces about knowing a little something something about Jamaica outside of the touristy stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How could I capture all of these things? And I did, I think, 25 chapters of 50 things under
Okay.
these listings.
Right.
The 50, correlating to the 50 years of independence.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at things about favorite songs in Jamaica, favorite gospel songs that Jamaicans like to sing, 50 gifts that you should get someone if you're traveling to Jamaica, from Jamaica or to Jamaica, whichever
Mm-hmm.
way you want to take it. Things like 50 romantic spots in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm able to take that book to I'm just about ready to start either an Instagram or TikTok channel that will allow all of this information to come live
Right. Yes.
and
Yes. Yes.
away. So you
Yeah.
never know what a creative inspiration will lead you to do next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because I succeeded in putting out the book, Jamaica 101, and it won great responses, because remember now in 2012, all of this excitement where everybody's online did not happen. 2012, nobody
Mm-hmm.
was online as much as
Right.
we today. And
True.
as you say, in 2020, that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
Everybody became more visible
Yeah.
online because
And
it used to
everybody was at home, and everybody was
be at home. So,
virtually meeting and hanging out, and
exactly.
yeah.
So Wire I came about because of my fear about becoming a published author. Because I said, how many other people would want to produce a book and they have fears about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know enough, or, so how am I going to get it published after I write it? Or I don't really have a story to tell. Or how do I? And since the years of speaking to so many different types of authors, from Mervyn Morris, a one time Jamaica Poet Laureate, to
Mm-hmm.
Professor Neville Ying, to speaking with Marlon James, award winning New York Times bestseller, and speaking with other persons. It's always interesting to hear the stories as to how they followed their bliss, how they followed the nudge, how they dealt with the different rejections, how they dealt with the different challenges. Everyone is similar but unique.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversations keep going. And now I see more and more of our Caribbean and Jamaican voices coming into print, That never existed, for instance, when I was studying literature at the University of the West Indies, you know? So I like the fact that the space, the podcast space, allowed for that kind of continuation. I've stopped doing radio for what? Since
Hmm.
maybe 2005.
Okay.
Stopped doing radio because it was time to come to an end. I started doing radio when I was in university. So I did radio for a good, oh my goodness, 30 years.
But
30.
you were in. I mean, because we were on stage, we were at church, we were doing all kinds of stuff. When did you make the decision to leave Jamaica?
Um, I the decision was made for me.
Really?
The decision was made for me to just change where I lived
Okay.
because it was time to answer the call of maturity,
Hmm.
answer the call of understanding this is a new, different stage of life.
Hmm.
All my family was already here.
Okay. Hmm.
I was already living partly here. I was already living here, so
Hmm.
to speak. And to make the change meant, come on, life is continuing. And life is not going the way that you desire right now, where you are. And it's time to pack up shit. And here's why I say the decision was made for me. I was in the middle of preparing another summer program I taught, where I ran a summer program for young teens in the area of public speaking.
Okay. Okay.
And the year before, it went very well, and so on. And this year, I was about to host it again. I also was about to step into a new position at Heart Trust.
Okay.
I think as a, I think I think the role was to produce teaching videos or something to that effect. Can't
Okay.
remember.
Hmm.
Went in for the job. I was called, and the person said, "Remember that tomorrow you're starting." And I went. And when I went, I got a call from HR to say, "Well, we don't have everything ready for you just yet, so we're going to ask you to leave, and when we're ready, we'll call you back."
Interesting. Wow.
Right? Well, needless to say, I
Mm.
stopped waiting for that call.
Yes.
A number of other things just started to just dung 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 dung. And I'm like, you know what?
The
It's
signs. The
time.
signs are there.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
time to do the shifts.
Okay.
And it was not hard, but it also was not easy
Hmm.
because, oh my goodness, I love Jamaica to my eye teeth,
Hmm.
and I didn't know whether or not I would have been able to navigate a new life in a new space that was favorable.
Plus, it wasn't just you. You were relocating. Osazi was. Your son was
Right. My son was with me.
being
My son
relocated
was
as well.
15 at the time. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? He probably needs to be here. That's another thing.
And
He,
he's thriving.
oh my good. Is he ever though, huh?
He's thriving. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And you know what was interesting is that again, the same thing we're talking about pivoting
Yeah.
during again the whole COVID season and whatnot. He already had channels going, but it wasn't growing the way he wanted.
Right.
He was in another state. And I said, "Look, you need to come to this state right now and do what you need to do. Figure
Hmm.
figure stuff out." And he was always coming over here anyway because
Oh.
he was doing his that channel where he was doing cars and whatnot. And then suddenly he told me one morning, "Hey mom, I'm gonna rebrand, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that." And I'm like, "Really?" I said, "Well, all right, whatever. Whatever you want to do."
Hmm.
And voila, the rest is history.
Nice.
So, what I'm beginning to realize, what I had to do when I said the decision was made for me, what I had to do is to open my mind, really open my mind to understanding that just like they say to a young person graduating from college, they say, well, now the world is your oyster.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that. I've always believed that.
Okay.
But I never applied it to myself.
Okay.
And applying that to myself, I realized, oh, there is life after the life that you've known.
Right. So when you came, because I mean, just like me, just like we're saying, we do so many different things, and
Mhm,
there's so many different aspects to our creativity and to our, all these things we can do.
mhm,
Um, what once you decide, okay, because you're back and forth, yes, but now you
mhm.
said I'm going to be here in this country more permanently. Um, what were the first like two or three things that you said? Let me see if I can do this, or let me set myself up with doing this and this and this.
Mhm.
What was your thinking like?
My thinking was first of all to pursue my public speaking coaching
Okay.
passionately
And
because
was
again,
that established in the US yet, or it was really just mainly Jamaica
no,
that you're doing it?
not here yet. You
Okay.
know, I said, let me look at public speaking, and I did some tender searches
Hmm.
in terms of okay, where would this fit here, and blah de blah 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 blah, and it wasn't flying the way I wanted. So I got into insurance because I did insurance back home. Got into
Okay.
insurance sales, worked with Aflac for a minute and a few other insurance companies. It was a great way to learn my environment at the time and learn about the people around whom, was in the space that I was in.
Hmm.
And that was very, very instructive, very instructive. And then I got into the school system. Someone
Okay.
had met me and said, "You know what? You should probably look into working with the school district." And I said, that's an idea." I explored it, and I ended up working in the school district for like about 5 years as a substitute teacher.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, and that was again very instructive. And
Hmm.
that's how you got to learn about your environment.
Hmm.
And of course, you are matching your experiences that you had in Jamaica along with this new environment here.
Hmm.
The textures of it, how people deal with different situations, how they deal with change, how they deal with growth, how they deal with development, how they deal with each other, how they deal with socializing immigrants,
Right.
you know, um, what the racial issues are. The racial issues are not only just black and white, but
Hmm.
they're cultural. They're cultural issues that you have to navigate because everything is not just as surface as you would see it.
Right.
Anyway, while I was involved with the substitute teacher experiences, people were always asking me, "Why are you here? Why are you doing this?" It's like, you don't need to be here. You need to be somewhere else. But it was a very positive
Okay.
comment. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
"Mhm." But I think that you learn from the experiences you have. Anywho, shortly after that, I got into the business of corporate training.
Okay. How did that happen? How did that tradition
How that
transition
happened
happen? Yeah.
was they were having a census. They were having the census,
Okay.
and they needed trainers to train the staff on how to deliver customer service using the IT platform that they were
Mm.
using. So they needed a whole host of trainers.
Okay.
And again, that's right up my alley. So
Hmm.
I segued right into that. During that time, during the 5-year period when I was in the school system, I got involved in Toastmasters here.
Right.
In Jamaica, people were always asking me to join Toastmasters. I'm like, I don't want to join the Toastmasters. I already know how to speak. I don't want to
Right.
do club. I don't want to do, no.
What do you
So
think the difference between Toastmasters in Jamaica and Toastmasters in the US
I
is?
didn't go to no Toastmasters in Jamaica.
No. Oh, okay. So your
I didn't
experience of it was in
know,
the
so
US.
right. But here's what happened. Again, as we started the conversation talking about pivoting. We talk about creativity. We're talking
Mhm.
about reinventing oneself.
Right.
I realized that I wasn't doing any of the radio things that I like to do. I
Mhm.
wasn't doing theater that I enjoy doing. I
Right.
wasn't doing none of those other things that I would normally be doing. So I said, you know what? I need to seek out, let me find something that I like to do.
Mhm.
Let's do the speaking thing. Let's go check out what's here. And I went and I joined Toastmasters, never said anything about any of my background or anything.
Right.
Not about how I coach in public speaking, nothing. I went and I enjoyed it. And I kept on, I became a Toastmaster member, eventually becoming a Toastmasters president, eventually
Mhm.
an area director, and then I became a division director, and all of those good things. Speaking at different training events or
Okay.
professional development events, and that led me to put on my own conference called Go Speak Women for Women's Day, and that
Okay.
started in 2019. So I would have a platform of speakers because I came to realize that the community that I was a part of, and this time I was in South Carolina, the community I was a part of, I realized that there was an empty space for that which we tend to do in Jamaica, which is
Mm.
offering these conferences, women centric conferences that help encourage women and help teach women how to, grown women now, how to just navigate life's issues and pathways.
Mhm.
And I found that that consistency of community adult learning was not present in the format that we are accustomed to in Jamaica, where we always put on women's conferences or you're going to women's seminars or whatnot.
Mhm.
I didn't see it happening where I was.
Right.
I put it on and had three speakers, including myself, and it ended up being covered by ABC News.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, next year I had it bigger.
Mhm.
And I think my event was one of the last events to be held there in Columbia, South Carolina, before the whole shutdown
Before
began.
shutdown, and it was
So
really well subscribed, and a lot of.
very well subscribed, very well supported. And they would even remark, this event is like I'm going to an event in Charlotte. So I'm
Mhm.
using now my event planning chops. I'm using now
Right.
my skills in organization of speakers, because this is what I did back
Mhm.
home. I did event planning, I did the marketing and the public relations and all of that. So
Mhm.
opportunities presented themselves for me to still apply my skills in a way that was beneficial, not just for me, but
Mhm.
also for the community I was in. So
Okay.
I brought that online when we all started to stay home, and I would do Go Speak Women every March. So I would
Okay.
only once a year around Women's Day. Around the year 5, I became a little bit burnt out, for want of a better term. And I'm like, ooh. And I was holding down my full-time jobs as a IT trainer,
Mhm.
you know. So using up my adult education skills, I am working with corporations that I get to work remotely, you
Mhm.
know. So the opportunities present themselves as you continue to open up and not think in a limited manner that blocks opportunities from you.
Mhm.
Because there's always a flow, as we say, there's always a flow. Things are always working out for me, no matter how, you know, something may look daunting. The reality is that there is more to life than meets the eye. I did a play, a Trevor Rowan play one
Mhm.
time where that was the song. There's more to life than
That
meets
means
the
that.
eye. So I've been able to use all my skills
Mhm.
thus far in maintaining the relationship I have with my creative spirit, with my creativity.
Okay.
And that is what has literally saved me, saved my sanity. That
Mm-hmm.
is what keeps me feeling grounded. I don't feel far away from home because I go home. And also, so many of my home girls and homeboys are here too in the United States, in different states. But what I'm beginning to realize that Jamaica is larger than the 44
Of
countries.
course, yes, yeah,
Jamaica is
yeah,
way larger than an
mm-hmm.
island mass.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as we say in Jamaican parlance, you have to turn your hand make fashion. One, you know, um, any which part it Margaret pop, or you say things like you have to wheel and come again.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That reinvention. Yes.
Right.
So
That's what we
you,
do.
yeah.
Hmm.
So let's go back to the books because you mentioned one book, but it's more than one book. How many books have
Hmm.
you done now?
I have 3 books now. I have 3 books with like 2 or 3 stuck on my computer right now. Just
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are the other two that are out?
we have Medea, which is a Jamaican journal, a Jamaica travel journal. I was actually
Okay.
looking for it before we came on live here, but for some reason it just missed my eye. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
both of them are on Amazon. Jamaica 101, that talks to a lot of cultural things about us as Jamaica. But Medea, the Jamaica Travel Journal, is exactly as it says. What I'm noticing, or what I noticed moving to different places. I'm moving through different places in the US. People meet you, they recognize that you're Jamaican, and of course, they start to tell you how they visited Jamaica, and then they never seem to be able to remember where they went. And
Yeah.
they're making up names about Jamaica places. Oh, Trust Rios.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, come on. We don't say no, we don't say like ne you your arc or whatever. And I'm like, you know, let us be conscious what we're doing. So not everybody's a journaler. Not everybody's gonna journal about their, but we are all taking pictures. We're taking pictures all
Mhm.
the time. But since we have been in the age of reflection where folks are reflecting on what is taking place in and around their worlds, that is when, folks like a Viola Davis put out her book, and other
Mhm.
people have written their books. How about let's do some mindful for those who are so keen? Let's do mindful journaling about your visit to Jamaica.
Mhm.
Make a note. I know for me, for instance, when I travel throughout different states, I may not necessarily remember even the train that I took from the airport to where I'm going. But let us be mindful. But in this journal, we have Jamaican proverbs, Jamaican sayings, Jamaican recipes
Mhm.
that allow for that touch point that gives you a little more, gives the traveler just a little bit more than the touristy stuff that they may or may not be involved with. And also, it just helps you to make note of what is this trip to Jamaica like, if you're so
Mhm.
inclined,
Mhm.
you know? And if you don't want to even write in the book, like I said, you have those resources that you can go through. The
Right.
other book I had produced after Jamaica 101 is Speak to Win, that
Okay.
lays out my steps in overcoming your public speaking fears,
Ah, okay. Mhm.
and again, that comes directly from my interest in public speaking coaching. And a lot of grown folk, good jobs, educated, still have some fears about public speaking.
Mhm.
And my quest is, find your own voice. And I think in times like these, folks need to develop their own powerful voice that they're not afraid of, and
Mhm.
blossom into the bold, conscious speaker that they are.
Yeah.
You you may have to get up and represent yourself at a community level, at the town hall meeting, wherever. You may have to get up and talk about, why you don't want roads built somewhere.
Right. But that
So,
speaks to visibility, and sometimes we struggle. I think even some of us who are in the arts will struggle with visibility. I know I do. Even with posting myself on on social media or going on live, I'm like, I have nothing to talk about. What am I going to go on live and
Mm.
unprepared and talk about? But because sometimes we think of it as self-indulgence, we think of it as vanity, but it's not really vanity per se. It's
It's
really more
just,
like you know, y- it's like the things you're doing are calling you to do it. It's obedience to purpose. It's really what it
I like
is.
that.
You know,
Obedience to purpose.
yeah,
Very much so. I love that.
yeah.
You know, the Caribbean cultural identity is such that we have grown up under a socialization that tells us, and it's in our language even, things like, Lord, you're too enough.
Mm-hmm. Or
Enoughy, shinoffy,
chicken Mary hot than there.
marry the heart the near. Or
Yeah,
them
yeah,
tell you that, why you think you can, who you think you is.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever you're big and bold. Or you say of a young lady, a young child, boy, them what? Them presumptuous, see? Them bumptious, them prime. You're
The
priming.
prime. Now that you brought us to this point, there's two questions I have. One of them is what particular difficult thing that you had to navigate in Jamaica are you happy you no longer have to navigate? And is there any kind of thing like that now where you are, where you have to navigate but you really don't like it, or you can't wait for you to not have to navigate this?
That's a very interesting question. The first thing I would say is that me no want to un-Jamaicanize me, so me not say nothing. But I think what it boils down to for me every single time is people are people wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
People want to be seen, people want to be heard, people want to be made to feel special no matter where you are. What I'm glad I don't have to be navigating with is when you do a job of work in the system, you get paid.
Okay.
If it is $1, you get paid. That's $1,000, you get paid. And there's no ifs, buts, and maybes about it. You don't have to be fighting for the pay that you work for. Unfortunately, at home, I've had to do that way too often, whether
Okay.
lecturing at a university or working at a radio station.
Mm.
There's always some hang up, or especially if you do creative work for certain entities. This constant follow up to get your check.
Yeah.
No, and I didn't play. I didn't play when I was there either. I didn't play. And if they say they're giving you $20, you get your $20.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a systemic failure for our home country as to how they handle matters of that nature.
Yeah.
And too many people have the same reports.
And it speaks to how creativity and the arts are valued. And sometimes I will say I value it, but my actions don't
No,
demonstrate that I value it.
right.
And it's unfortunate because our culture is it's all creatives in different ways. And if you are not treating the creatives like you value them, that means you don't value the whole culture, basically.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I must quickly add, though, that when I did theater productions, I didn't have that issue either,
Okay.
where I was fortunate to work with producers who honored their their contracts with you.
Mm-hmm.
You get paid for your stage work, and that I appreciated. Um, there are some advertising agencies when I did voiceover for commercials. In no time, you were able to collect your check. I like that.
Oh,
I
very
love
good. Yeah.
checks, right? Anybody who say that they don't love collecting their check for work done, I don't know where they come from, but there's nothing that sweet me more to have a skill and a talent, and I receive a good check for it. I love it. I love a good
Good.
check,
Mhm.
right? I love a good check, and I don't want difficulty getting my checks.
Yeah.
you know so I'm a quasi entrepreneur in that aspect, where
Hmm.
I will definitely hold courses from time to time and invite people who need the results that they seek to put their money where their mouth is you know and but um that's a personal standard I've had for
Hmm.
many many years. And in the same way, if I'm working with, or if artists work with me, I love being able to pay them. I love being able to pay them. I love being able to run their business in such a way that they are paid.
Yes.
I think that mindset goes a very far way in what you happen to accomplish successfully vis-a-vis not successfully. Whether you're in Jamaica, Dubai, Canada, South America, Australia, I think mindset has a great deal to go a long way. There are
Mm.
some books, like for instance, I recently started to edit children's books. You have written a children's book yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a joy to edit these children's books. It's a joy because, again, I lend my same skills, but just used in a different way to help someone else realize their dream of becoming a published author. So, again, these are some of the ways in which you have to pivot and reorganize yourself. So that's how I probably respond to that question. So
Okay.
what's the other one?
The well, I think it was two sides. Is there something now in the situation you are in now that you wish you didn't have to navigate?
No, no,
Okay.
no, absolutely no.
Okay. Good. Good.
And, I,
Good.
and, I, and I'm happy for that. Thanks for that question.
Yeah.
No, I live from a space of gratitude, Michael.
Very good.
And
Yes.
you do a whole big thing on gratitude
Yes.
uh, for many years.
Hmm.
And I live from a space of gratitude. So, what that does for me is that it turns down the noise of any possible made up discontent.
Hmm.
Okay. And I've had to unlearn our cultural habits of driving ourselves crazy with over busyness,
Hmm.
perfection.
Yes.
I've had to unlearn the ways of our whole life construct is different for us in our 50s and 60s than for our parents when they were in their 50s and 60s. I now realize that we have to develop different constructs. The old
Hmm.
ways will not work for us. And the worst part about that, excuse me, is that it's very sneaky how we're not able to identify very well what are some of these constructs we need to undo.
Hmm.
So, this requires quite a bit of self reflection and mostly truth and honesty with self.
Yep.
For instance, I'm feeling resentful. Why am I feeling resentful? Am I justified in feeling resentful? If yes, I'm justified, what leads to that resentment? What would you
Yeah.
have preferred? How do you change a situation? Do you have to do something or look at it another way? Do you have to have a conversation with somebody? Are your expectations being met, or are your expectations not in alignment with what it is that you're reaching for? Some of us
Right.
have outgrown our own constructs and don't even know it, and giving ourselves a heck of a hard time
Indeed.
navigating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we get the nudge to change, but because we're so stuck in our old ways and we are 40, 50, 60, even 70, we don't want to change. And that presents difficulties.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and these difficulties may not even be something you can foresee. They just hit you in the face because life continues to life, right?
Yes, life is life, and um,
So, yeah.
I wanted to know. Okay, so you have these different projects and possibilities.
Mhm.
Is there anything new or any new things on the horizon that you can share? Because not
Yeah.
everything you want to share until it's
Right.
and
Right.
I
Right.
support that fully. But is there anything that you can share that is new that is coming up?
What is coming up for me is an extension of what I've done with Jamaica 101 and Medea.
Okay,
And that involves using the Instagram reel
social
platforms,
media. Okay, yes.
social media that we now have, because not
Mm.
everybody, and you see, this is a perfect example as to how things really have changed. Whereas, and even for me, I'm not reading as much as I want to, as I still have a desire to.
Hmm.
Reading a book, hardcover, gives me a certain kind of comfort that no amount of TV watching, movie watching clips on social media gives me. It doesn't give me the freedom of imagination, which I
Hmm.
need as a creative.
Right.
So I need to get back into the habit of reading, but I'm trying to make space for that.
You better come join Rocker's book club.
Let's do that. Let's do
Yeah.
that. Since we already interview authors on Why I Write
Right.
podcast. So let's
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And so I remember my son said to me once, he said, Mom, you really should do an Instagram, TikTok, whatever channel. You could give advice. And I'm like, again, battling with what you brought up with about
Yeah.
visibility.
Hmm.
I don't want to burn out creatively and
Yeah.
none of that. But then an idea dropped in my head. I don't want to be advising everybody about their post dog and picnic and relationships. Sometimes I have friends say, Totlyn, you should be a relationship coach because da 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 da. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But you know, but with my son saying, you should, Mom, you could. And then I thought, and as I look around our world today, where people are doing all kinds of different things that don't make no sense,
Hmm.
all kind of things in all kind of ways that just don't make no sense. You ask the question, where is the wisdom? Where is the wisdom? Who's speaking about wisdom? I'm not talking about coming to join my party or voting this way or no, none of that. None of that. None of that. I'm not talking about none of that. What I'm talking about is the old school wisdom that can help us look into life and its situations and can sustain us through the changes of life.
Hmm.
So here we have coming up our I'm exploring that channel, and the
Okay.
context of that channel is to provide wisdom in a quizzical way. I'll definitely send you a link when we start up.
Okay.
So we have that coming up. So that's
Hmm.
what I've been sitting on the sidelines, not wanting to join the noise of, oh, you're doing this channel and social media creator and blah blah blah. But again, things like what they call it, AI.
Yeah.
AI has helped me to figure it out and to
Okay.
name. And you have really pointed out a very key factor in some of the things that stand in our way, and that of visibility. I
Hmm.
struggle with the same visibility too. I guess that's why I loved radio. I didn't have to be on camera or whatnot.
Right.
Um, and I should not struggle with it because I've been on stage. But then
Exactly. Yeah.
requires another part of your consciousness to, and I've presented on television too as a TV
Hmm.
host thing. But what was my reservation? So I had to negotiate with my own consciousness about the visibility issue.
Hmm.
Another thing we have coming up this year, we're going to be having a women's retreat coming up. So we talk more about that
Okay.
because again, there is a lot of noise in our environment where not everybody is in for the flash and the shine, and they still need that kind of guidance. They still
Mm-hmm.
need that kind of safe space where they know they can renegotiate the terms of their life and living their lives. They may hit a success plateau, and it's like, what's next? And then there's this feeling of dis-ease, but because they have not seen any example, how do I pivot? What am I going to go into? How do I navigate? It's not just about whatever the popular thing is. So we do have a women's retreat coming up. Me and another partner will
Oh,
be
lovely.
doing that. So we are looking into staging that women's retreat. That's something that I've been working on for the last 2 years and counting. So we're looking to do that. And we have a couple of books coming out too to support that.
Right, right,
So
right, right.
yeah. And the Wire Right podcast continues. A
Good.
couple months ago, we had a book fair where again we're providing the platform. Sometimes we
Right.
have to rename the why. We have to rename the why, and we have to manage the output with the
Mm-hmm.
input
Okay.
creatively, energetically, also financially.
Mm-hmm.
Again, some of us are not taught well financially how to accept and receive the monetary value of what
Yeah.
we share with the world. And we have to rename sometimes and renegotiate with ourselves that you're not giving away stuff, and you have to find a way. I hear words like, oh well, you've got to monetize this and monetize that, and what you have to do. I can't stand all of those fancy words, Michael. Like
That's the
simple,
lingo. That's the lingo. You have to get with it, or
you know,
create
you
your own
know.
lingo.
Listen. So it's a matter of navigating. As I mentioned earlier, I like making a check. I like getting a check.
Yeah.
And there are many ways for us to do these things nowadays. And it's negotiating with self. Okay, how am I going to apply
Mm-hmm.
what I have? We were talking off air about the business of burnout. We're talking off air about the business of, pacing yourself.
Yeah.
One would tell you, oh, well, you can't be doing so many things. Well, guess what? If you have the wherewithal, the skills, the talent,
Yeah.
the time, then by all means, apply
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to come up with a mantra. One of the things, Michael, I notice is that as individuals, we don't come up with our own mission statement like companies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't come up with our own vision statement. We get a job, we get a position, we know what the contract pays, but we don't set a standard for how am I going to live the next 12 months of my life.
Right. Right.
We
Right.
say things like, well, that's just the way life is. Our times are showing us that we cannot take any of this for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to look at the sales projections for our lives. And it's not about budgeting. We are our own enterprise.
Yeah.
And that's something I have to consistently renegotiate with myself. And I'm inviting any of you, you're watching, your business is to understand the enterprise that you are.
Yeah.
And we have never been taught, especially going to primary school, prep school, elementary school, we have never been taught that you are your own enterprise. Hence the problem we have with visibility. Hence the problem I was doing something the other day and somebody sent me a text and said, do you not think it would be better if you clean up this and that and this da, 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 da? I said, no, I'm not doing it for perfection. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
it for action.
Yeah.
And it's not about it being of a lesser quality. The intention is different from what they are thinking. And
True. And you set up certain habits as well. I mean, I've recently formed this little private I want to call it a support group for some other musicians like myself who lately we haven't been making as much music as we want to be. So we're doing this little thing together. And one of the things that I said to them is not about perfection; it's about completion. So we're not
Mm,
waiting for it to be perfect. We want to finish it, put it out, move on to the next thing, and create that as a
yes.
habit rather than stalling and circling and waiting on perfection. Because those are habits
Over.
that you form, and once you start to stumble by stalling, you'll be stalling for everything.
Quite so.
Yeah,
Quite so. It's a get up and go right now.
yeah, yeah.
It's a get up and go right now. And these times call for that. It
Hmm.
is also um not waiting for validation. And here's what I know as a creative person. I don't know, Michael, if you find this, wherein an idea occurs to you. And you're like, yeah, that's nice, that's cute. The idea comes back, it flirts with you. It's like, oh yeah, let me see how. And it comes back again.
Yeah,
And then you probably go online and you see something that really, really tugs at you and say, hey, this is the sign. And you're there, sitting, okay, it looks nice. Okay. And you sit all the way. And then it just comes and and you have to respond. That ever
yeah,
happened to
yeah.
you?
Yes, many times, many times.
Yeah. So the road of a creator
Yeah.
is, and I now see that I just don't belong to one box, or rather that my box has many compartments.
Mm-hmm.
And it is important that I honor the compartments as they
Right.
come knock.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to I have to do that thing or those set of things, because on the other side of those things are results and rewards that I didn't even know existed therein.
Mm-hmm.
And that would satisfy me. That would be, as I listen to Abraham Hicks a lot, and she talks about um, the whole business of staying on your high flying disc and being
Yeah.
in that happy space and entertaining joy, which makes a whole lot of sense, because sometimes if left up to our own imaginings, we're worrying about something that we don't have no control over, or we do have control over, and we don't act, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But until you take the act, it does not open the passageway for you to, and you may end up solving a problem you're not even thinking about solving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beautiful thing about the metaphysics of life, and we haven't even touched that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Think that when we, you know, because of what we believe in terms of life not appearing as you see it,
Mm-hmm.
you're now able to honor the different parts of yourself that demand this expression, whether it is in music, whether it is in book writing, whether
Mm-hmm.
it is in teaching, no matter what it is, there is an honor. Even this conversation we're having, I'm
Yeah.
so grateful to be having this conversation with you, so we can exchange these ideas
Yeah.
and have our audience think about some things in a little different way,
Mm-hmm.
and not in that rigid, um you need to fit in this whole kind of way. you know
Yeah.
Try,
Yeah.
okay, so you're a round peg, you're gonna really definitely stay around and make sure that you fit into the round hole.
Yeah.
But you understand that there is life while you're living life, and there's life
Mm-hmm.
after life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because we're no longer moving through a system like school, school, you're in grade 1, form 1, grade 12, graduate, or graduation system may come after 6 weeks, or
Yeah.
graduation system come after 2 months, or graduation system may come after 2.5 years.
Right. 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 Right.
No, mindset are the key. I am discovering, and you continue to discover it. You don't have everything figured out all of the time,
Mm-hmm.
but when joy and happiness calls, that is the right call.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totlyn, thank you so much. Thank you for being. Um, well, we have other conversations to happen, but we'll come back again. Either I come to your podcast or you come back.
Listen. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. We gotta.
again. Yeah.
Take care of
So
yourself.
yes.
Next one, old types come to come back again.
Please don't go anywhere. That's all. I have to do my little spiel and end, but don't leave. So,
You have to.
but, so thanks again for the conversation. You know, conversations like this just remind me that time doesn't just change us; it clarifies us. So, everybody, Totlyn Oliver's journey is not about reinventing for reinventing's sake. It's about alignment between voice and values and truth. And so, this episode is called An Old Friend and a New Conversation because that's what growth allows, not nostalgia, but honesty. So, thank you again, Totlyn, for your courage, your clarity, and your willingness to keep speaking not louder but truer. So this has been Mike's Moment of, and remember, please, to keep finding meaning in your moments. Bye, everybody. I'm Michael Sean Harris. I hope you're entertained and informed, and that you feel inspired to join me again and again in my moments of.